share the mic. All right. Thank you very much. Courtney, if you don't mind, initial comments, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's the beauty of March, and it's the brutality of March. You know, the worst thing to do is to walk into a locker room and, you know their heart hurts and tell them it's over, right? It's just the worst, as you can imagine. And also, it's also when you know your product and who they were out there, you're also proud of them. So it's that weird mix. You know, I asked them to be what they have been all year, which is a group of fighters. I asked them to be locked down defensively. I asked them to make shots, make plays, be stars. We asked them to be hard to beat, and we thought those things would get us to a Sweet 16. They did all of those things, right? But you got to be so good to win in March, so good. And we just were not quite good enough, right? We had a few too many careless turnovers. We won't like some of our fouls. We won't like some of our missed layups. They won't either. It's a possession game. On the road, all the things. So we just weren't quite good enough. Credit to Ohio State. They had to beat a really good team, and they did. And they get to continue on. So credit to them. They're as happy as we are sad. That's just how March goes. So I'd be nowhere without these three for all the obvious reasons and also all the not so obvious reasons. How they stuck by each other. They stick by me. They believe in our program and what they've meant to us. So they should really be the ones that are talking.
Great. Thank you. We'll go ahead and open up the floor for questions.
Daniel Wade, Daily Tar Heel. Question for Alyssa and Kennedy. When Deja goes out, you guys kind of started activating, scoring. What was going on through your mind, and what was working for you guys?
There's one thing we say before every game is that we got each other's backs. So when Deja went out, we huddled together. We're like, guys, we got this. We're doing it for Deja, and we're doing it for all of us to give us the best chance to win.
Yeah, I would definitely say we just fought with the younger guys in there too. They definitely locked in, and I thought that was a big moment for us because both Deja and Eva had went down, and I thought that was a really big moment and a key turnaround for us.
Deja, Autumn Target Tribute. Can you tell me something about that? You ran into a screen and just fell awkwardly. Tell me about that, and then the emotions of going back to the dressing room and coming back and seeing what the score was.
Yeah, I ran into the screen, went down. But I was, as soon as I went down and they were taking me back, the only thought in my mind was, what's the score, what's the time, and what do I need to do to get back on the floor. So I was back here in the hallway with our doctor trying to figure that out, and when I came back and saw the score, I knew that they had my back too when I went down, so they held it down for sure, and I was excited to get back out there.
And what was the injury? Just a...
Well, we won't call it an injury yet, but a knee.
Did you think you might not be able to get back in there?
It was up to the doctor, but I wasn't going to go down without a fight. So really, I wasn't going to take no for an answer.
Raise your hand and we'll get the microphone to whomever.
Obviously, injuries were a big factor all season. Originally, you were down 2 starters, and suddenly you're down 2 starters at the end. This seemed to typify the way the season went.
Yeah, and my mother's always called me a happy idiot, and I think she's right. There's an element of happy idiotness in me, which is I just don't worry about that in the moment, right? So Deja out, she means a lot to our program, but look who we do have, right? And so it's just, it is a microcosm, so it's easy to talk about that we've had a lot of adversity, right? We've had in, out, we haven't practiced as a whole group much, but it's also just as easy to talk about the resolve that the others have shown. It's hard to be the guy out, it's also really hard to be the guy that's leaned on. And so I don't know how many miles or minutes Toddy in particular and Deja have logged this season, but more than they should, right? Because they needed it. And so, it's where there's a bad thing, which is what a bummer it was to lose 2 significant contributors most of the year, name who they are, whoever, and also in this game. But it's worse to not have guys behind them who can hold their back.
Deja, coming out of halftime, it looked like Eva had been crying a little bit. You were consoling her. I'm guessing there was an emotional locker room at halftime?
Yeah, she just cares. She cares so much, and she just wants to be good for us, good for the team, and contribute in any way that she can. So, especially being a fifth-year senior where this could possibly be her last game, emotions are high. But I was just talking her up and telling her, reminding her how much we need her and how no matter how her shots were going, no matter how, the game was going, just that we had her back just like she's had ours all year.
And the last play, obviously, long pass, you thought you'd get an inside bucket from Alyssa there.
Mhm.
How was that supposed to go?
Yeah, I mean that, right? We brought someone to the ball, brought Deja to the ball, so we knew that would draw a crowd, and we liked the matchup of Alyssa on one, which is what they came out in, is that matchup. And so with 1.8 seconds left, and you saw how the game was being called, right? We weren't expecting that to be helpful. And so we were trying to get her at the rim. And, when you're in a possession game, you have an opportunity to lose them just as much as you have to win them. And we won one here and we lost one here.
Anyone else with questions? Over here to the left, please. You can state your name and your organization, please.
Dion Cash, Fox Sports, Dayton. Back and forth game, kind of a physical game, but you guys get it to tie score. What's the mentality going through each of you guys' minds? And you guys are juniors, so I know you got another year, but you're not thinking like that. But when it's tied up, what are you thinking at that point?
We're thinking one possession at a time. When we're on defense, we're all talking to each other the whole time, saying we need to stop, we need to stop. And then when we get on offense, we're trying our best to work together to construct a good look to give us the best chance we can. And so it's always just about the present moment. So whichever end of the ball we're on, that's the one that we're locked in and focused on. And I thought as a collective, our group did really well in focusing at the task at hand and buying into our assignments.
Especially with the younger guys in that situation, I think me and Alyssa were really just saying, like, it's all right, like, we're good, with the younger guys, having that experience, one possession at a time, like she said, and we just keep going. I mean, it doesn't stop, just because they score a point, we got to go down on offense, get a stop, all that.
Coach, this is for you. You got a great nucleus of players. You always have a goal, obviously, to win it all, but it feels like a really successful season for you. Talk about that for us a little bit real quick, and you too, Ms. Kelly.
I'll go first. Want me to? Yeah. I mean, these guys have been with me since I got here, right? They were the first phone calls I made, and they're proving me right? They're proving me right, not just because of their talent, but because of their fortitude, as you saw today. And they're competitive as hell, so it's not always easy, right? But they work through it, and in college athletics, there's so much volatility, right? There's so much inconsistency now. That's a choice, right? You can choose that. We've chosen to have more stability where we can, right, and develop our guys and trust them and whatnot. And so everyone does it differently. There's no right or wrong way. I mean, it's through the draft or through the portal or however you want to do it. But these guys have a ton of experience, and that's partly why their hearts are so heavy, right? Is that they had to rely on a lot of young guys today because we were out, we had a lot of minutes, et cetera. But, these guys have proven me right. I know there's been a lot written about them as a group, and there should be, right? They're all that's right as competitors and people, and what they're wearing on the front of their jersey matters to them. And that can get lost sometimes in college athletics, and it just is not lost on them, right? And that's why in these games when I kept saying each possession, like, just keep at it, just keep at it, just keep at it, right? That's who these guys are. They just keep at it, right? So, these guys should have their story, and those stories should be told and retold and retold, and we'll see what they can continue to do together.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about our group, our core, is just, our like mindset. I think that's something that's kind of brought us along and brought us together throughout the whole season and throughout the 3 years that we've been here. Is we've set goals, just really our class together. We set goals for ourselves for the things that we wanted to accomplish while we were here in North Carolina. And, coming up short, obviously, it hurts all of us, I think, the most, just because we know the conversations we've had, the hard work that we put in together. I think that's why it means so much, is because we've been through all of it literally together. And personally, you know, I wouldn't want to go through it with anyone else. God, I'm going to get emotional. But, yeah, it just hurts. But, again, I think our group is really special. And, you know, we're not done. But we'll sit in this one for a little bit. But, yeah, I wouldn't take anyone else.
We're going to go to a question on Zoom. Mitchell, if you can hear us, please ask away.
Yeah, Coach. You know, Deja just talked about this core, and there's so much roster turnover in college basketball nowadays. But it seems like it's going to be another offseason where you're kind of going to return pretty much the same kind of core group. How exciting is it? I know this loss stings right now, but to run it back again with this core.
It's obviously good for college basketball when good players stay together, right? That's the continuity on that for their games and their development. But I think also the thing, Mitchell, is they just, this is a group that has gotten better, right? And so as you think about where they were when they first came and where they are now, I mean, statistically, from a statistical standpoint, they've really improved. And so as you think about, you're going to give me, what is it, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, you're giving me 6 months with these guys to get them better. You know, I like that. You know, I think these guys they're gym hungry. They've got to do some work on their bodies to get healthy and ready to go. But yeah, I'm excited because I know they'll get better. Like this, they're just an ever evolving. That's partly what the story needs to be, is how much better these guys have gotten. They're not just like resting on their laurels of being good. So I just look forward to, you know, growing Toddy's game and growing Alyssa's game and growing Deja's game in a way that that they're sitting up here talking about other things than being almost there.
Any other questions here from internally here? No? Ladies, thank you very much. Thank you for your graciousness.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Coach, I have to do this. An opening comment.
Yeah, sure. Incredible basketball game. I think, both teams played extremely hard, and, credit North Carolina with an incredible season. And, they have a very talented group, and Courtney's done a great job building that program. So this is a great win for us because it puts us in the Sweet 16, but also just I have so much respect for North Carolina. So we beat a great opponent today.
Great, thank you. Raise your hands, and we'll state your name and your organization. We'll get the microphone to you.
Thomas Costello, Langer and Holy Land, for you, Coach, and players. Also, the drawing up that last play, was that the game plan to get into JC's hands?
Yeah, it was. The plan was to get in JC's hands for sure. It didn't go exactly the way we wanted it. Just got a little fouled up on our timing, and they guarded it well. They guarded the initial action really well. Ebony made a great decision not passing the initial one to JC because she really wasn't open, and then we swung the ball back around and got it back in her hands. And I told him in the locker room, sometimes it's about X's and O's, and sometimes it's about having the best player on the court.
JC, I know you're going to get it. You want to just go ahead and comment on the play then?
Yeah, I think, like Coach said, Ebony did a great job. Kind of like he said, it didn't go as planned, and she made a great play there, and that's what led to that bucket. So I think keeping our composure in that situation was huge, keeping possession of the ball, and that was all Ebony.
Go ahead, Dan.
JC, Dan from 11 Warriors. Just to have the year that you've had, does that make this moment that much more special?
Yeah, it's always special to win. I think, winning is always our top priority, especially in March. I mean, it's hard to win, so it's awesome. Winning is fun, and we got a group of competitors, so it's extra special for us.
Ebony, for you, when JC has the ball in her hands at the end of the game, how much confidence does that give you that she's going to be able to make a play?
Oh, 100% confidence. JC does this day in and day out, so we practice a lot of tough situations so that we're prepared for moments like this when games come. And regardless, if she would have missed it, I would have been there to help her. At the end of the day, we do a great job of having each other's backs, and whatever it took to win, we were going to do it.
Braden Mills, Buckeye Sports Bulletin. For Kevin, the entire second half of the season, you were talking about we're holding off on bringing JC back for the stretch run to have her available for that run there. Is this the type of big moment you had in mind when you're thinking we're saving her for this?
Yeah, of course. Obviously she's such a great player, and we would want her in every game for as many minutes as possible. But just due to an unfortunate injury, we didn't have that. But I think JC and the trainer worked really, really hard to get back and to have a chance to impact us like she's doing down the stretch. And I think some good decisions were made from the medical staff and from JC and their collaboration to kind of get it right the time that we brought her back. And then kind of, the Big Ten tournament was awesome to have her there. And then we've just been able to build up her minutes. And so awesome to have her back.
And for Ebony, the performance you had today, is this kind of what you had in mind for yourself when you made the decision to transfer to Ohio State?
Yeah, in a sense, but at the end of the day, it's just playing for the people that I'm surrounded with. They support me in so many different ways other than basketball, and just thinking that I transferred this many times, they took a chance on me. Just from that, I knew that I had to give them my very best. So day in and day out, I just want to do whatever I can to help my team and help the program and, support our fans in a way.
Over here to the left.
Deion Cash, Fox Sports Dayton. Coach, I've been up here a couple times to check you guys out. Straight grind out game here. Came down to the last minute. A lot of emotions, but I see you make that customary walk over to do your radio interview. How did that feel today? And JC with the big shot, obviously that's clutch. And with you having a big game, how did it feel to come out on top at home in a kind of a crazy season of sorts for you guys?
Yeah, it was really exciting at the end. I think it kind of speaks to it is a great walk across the court because we had another incredible crowd. I thought the crowd was once again really impactful, and especially for a 4 o'clock tip, for everybody to find a way to get here. So that was really cool to have the crowd there supporting us like they did.
Yeah, I think it was really special, like you said, being at our home court one more time this year, and in March makes it even that much more special. And I think sometimes in March specifically, you got to find a way to win, and that's what we did today, and we did it together.
Senior leadership, I know that's big. You have a lot of key seniors, including 2 right here. You guys kind of had to step up late in the game. Is that kind of an automatic thing, or is it more kind of like you said, just calling plays and stuff like that?
We certainly like the ball in JC's hands as much as possible down the stretch, and even if it's not a shot for her, she's going to facilitate and make everybody around her better. And I'm really proud of Ebony. we've all in the program watched her in practice and flashes in games of what she did today. And this was her best game and biggest moment when we needed it the most. And so really happy for her and proud of her, because I've been telling her all, for a long time, like, you're capable of really impacting us at a high level, and she was awesome tonight.
Thomas Costello, Langren, follow up to that, Ebony. Talking to Taylor Mike still out inside the locker room, she mentioned 2 weeks ago is kind of like a point where you started really maybe going hard in practice. Like, what happened 2 weeks ago, or what have you been doing the last couple weeks to prepare you for this weekend?
Yeah, I just been trying my best to get better every day. But at the end of the day, too, we're in March Madness, the NCAA tournament, and it's win or go home. And I think one of our coaches made a comment in the locker room before we started games, like, this is never going to be the same team again. And that just speaks a lot, when you think back to, your high school days, that last game, when you never know what's just going to be your last game, or, this may be their last year. So I want to do whatever I can for the people that won't be here next year. I want to make this season special because we have a special team.
Haley Johnson, Columbus Dispatch. Kevin, we've talked a lot about comebacks over the last few weeks, and today you guys are ahead pretty much the whole game, but have to kind of fend off North Carolina trying to get ahead. How much do you learn about your team in a game like this where you're able to hold them off at the end?
Yeah, we had a chance, I thought, to really pull away and put the game out of reach, but we got really sloppy with the basketball. We had 21 turnovers today, which is really high for us. Now, credit North Carolina's defense. They've got good athletes, they quick hands, and they do a lot of great stuff. But I was really proud down the stretch. Nobody panicked. We kept executing and digging in to try to get stops. But there was a sense of determination that we were going to find a way to come away with the win.
Mike A-Rage from the Columbus Dispatch, piggybacking on Bailey here. Was anyone spooked because you guys had to lead the whole game right until 2 minutes and change? Is for anyone, did anyone look at the scoreboard at that point and say?
No, I think, we did a great job in that moment, keeping our composure and staying focused on winning. I think whether we like it or not, we've been down a couple times this year and had to fight back, and we've done it. So we've been there before, so we're familiar with that feeling. And I think at that moment, we just all come together and remain confident and, keep the eyes on winning, and that's what we did.
I also think it's a reflection of the leadership and the, probably as importantly, the chemistry, because I think, coming down the stretch when mistakes are made, if you don't have a cohesive group, there's a lot of finger pointing. But we don't have that. Our kids stay together, and I think that gives us the resolve to be able to come away with some of these close wins.
Got time for a couple more questions over here to the left. Go ahead, sir.
Crazy atmosphere in here. How did that help you guys, and how does it feel to get a win in front of the home team?
No, all season our fans have been awesome, and we had an incredible crowd the other night against James Madison, and then today to have a 4 o'clock tip and to have as many people show up as we did just really speaks to this community and how they support women's athletics, specifically women's basketball. And I think people are really taking to this team because of how hard we play, and just the character that you can see of the young women in our program. People are really getting behind us, and it's really cool.
Braden Moles, Buckeye Sports Bulletin. Kevin, teams always talk about this time of year wanting to play your best basketball in March. With the physical nature of these last couple games, do you feel you're also playing your most physical basketball at this point and peaking there?
Yeah, we're playing really, really hard, and we're playing with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and a lot of physicality. I still think we can play better. I don't. It's hard to change your team this time of year. I don't think you're going to make significant changes, but I think we can have a week ahead to where we address some things to just be the best version of ourselves when we show up in Seattle.
Kevin, you guys could potentially have UConn in the next round. Obviously, the team has had so much success in March. Just what are your early thoughts on that potential matchup?
Yeah, I mean, if it ends up being them, they've obviously got an incredible program and a history of winning at the highest level, and I've watched them some this year, and they've had a season sort of like ours in that injuries have really impacted it, and they've had the highest of highs, and they've also had a few lows, mostly because of they just haven't had the same team throughout the year. But fortunately for them, they're getting way more healthy here down the stretch. So I think if it ends up being them, we'll see the best UConn team that they've had this season.
JC, obviously UConn is your former teammate, you last year. Just what would that be like to potentially play against her in the tournament?
Yeah, that would be really cool. Like you said, if it ends up being them, that's awesome. They're a really great team, really great program. But we're excited. They got a good group, and so do we. So we're up for the challenge. So we're really excited.
JC, Ebony, Kevin, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations and all the best in Seattle.